I'll just say, welcome everybody. We're doing it live.
There you go.
So, you know, honestly, and I'll just start off and we'll just go through this past week because to me, it started off last week with the Q&A. There was a particular thing that I thought was really interesting, and that was Veronica's situation. She talked about being, you know, of Harvard University, which is kind of a very interesting place to be employed by, but they're requiring a vaccination to essentially stay employed. And Richard, you had a really great suggestion and really kind of offered an opportunity to really demonstrate how quickly someone in an opportunity like that could be really propelled into being a you know, a leader. And I think that was really an important real discovery. And then the way that you know, a lot of people offered suggestions, and we got different you know, kind of information about what kind of things could be done, and really kind of assembled a brain trust of ideas that I'm not sure exactly where Veronica is to this day or at the moment, but it certainly represents just one example of the opportunity that each one of us has when it comes to being presented with people around you that can offer suggestions, offer knowledge, offer skills and ability and talent. I mean, I just, to me, it seemed like such an exciting demonstration of what this group of people could potentially be. I don't know, does anybody want to comment on that particular subject? Because I think it was an exciting moment, because I do feel like it's really cool.
I agree, Michael. I had shared with Veronica some information that was put forth by Catherine Austin Fitz on her pandemic.solari.com website. And the forms were quite detailed. And I had given them also to two family members. One person works for a huge international communications company, and the other one is a school teacher. So I got an update from the person who worked in the communications company, and he said he read the entire document that was supposed to be signed by his manager or by the HR, or somebody in the company was supposed to sign it. And anybody reading that document, nobody would sign it, because it basically assigns liability to them. It says, I hope you understand that the government and all of their henchmen have liability. You do not. And if something happens to me, are you aware of X, Y, and Z? Long story short, he said he read it to the group and they laughed. I was so horrified when I heard that. I thought, what's funny about any of this? This is sick. This isn't funny. So they laughed, and his manager told him, I understand what you're saying, but if you don't like it, you can find another job. And what was interesting is, because he's married to a teacher, he doesn't go through their insurance. So that's part of the way that they're carrot and sticking them, saying, if you don't do this, then your insurance will be increased by $50 to $100 a month so that we can offset the costs of getting testing for you. So there is a tremendous amount of good information available, but if these corporations refuse to acknowledge their liability and just tell people, yeah, we don't care, quit. I mean, this is a multi-billion-dollar company. So it's a little bit bizarre, and I think they have until December 8th, which I just thought was a very odd time. You know, where do these arbitrary dates come up, and how are they being enforced? So I feel for Veronica. I know, it seems like she really likes her job, and especially the ability to work remotely, which is fantastic. But I hope that she has better resolution than the people that I've shared the document with her. So thanks for bringing it up, Michael. Yeah, it's interesting and ongoing.
Jonathan, you have something to add?
Yeah, thanks, JL. That's a really interesting story. It's quite interesting, especially how those people were so dismissive, and your reference to people laughing at that case. I assume they're really laughing from fear and trying to make that person submit through shame and overcoming them. Certainly, if I was wanting the propaganda to work, I'd be trying to force that shame, the feeling of non-compliance outside of them to them. But I really would encourage that person to take that next level of action and really get them to sign it, document that letter, put it as an annex, an attachment to the manager, request that being sent up to HR and that this be pasted in their personal file, and that they are going to have done. Always, we're not just going to stop at one step. We're going to have to make this system obsolete. If you're unvaxxed like I am, that's going to get really hard. For my own personal experience this week, my family are off visiting the in-laws. I can't go over there because I would have to spend the entire time in quarantine, 2 weeks in quarantine, to then be able to come back to Lithuania. And for those of you in Europe, you might be familiar with it, but for those of you in the United States, Australia, and all those people around the world tuning into this, Lithuania is the test bed for their opportunity pass. They have got the smartphone QR code for everybody, that you not only now need to walk around with personal identification, but you need to have your QR code downloaded to your phone to be able to scan into any shopping center that is greater than 30 square meters. So my sister-in-law, who unfortunately she did submit and she had her first jab, but she also has a bit of a blood disorder, and she felt very uncomfortable needing to go for the second jab. She is now excluded from doing her basic shopping, and that her husband now needs to do all of that for the family. So the oppression is coming. We need to take those actions, ladies and gents, any way which we can, to find alternates, to be able to work around through their impositions, because they're trying to shame us into compliance. I don't know what the final solution is, but the great thing about me not knowing the obvious answer is they, them don't either. So if we're all finding so many solutions that are out there, they can't attack it as a centralized mass. They're going to have to be dispersed. We're going to think of new solutions every time they think of something harsh. So I just wanted to give everybody that benefits before challenges idea. Really go for the abundance mindset. Let's make this as hard for those buggers out there. Apologies to use an Australian acronym there. This is, I think, children's hour still.
Excellent advice and excellent encouragement, Jonathan. Thank you. And yes, I had seen that information on Lithuania. As a matter of fact, I'll post to the Discord class chat a Twitter feed from somebody from there with pictures and everything, showing people waiting online just to walk through a queue to scan their QR codes at these little kiosks. Basically, it's a nightmare. Yeah.
I just think of the government investment to get all of those stands up with the reader, something to be able to track people. They are going hell for leather at the moment. And I think it's been discussed in a couple of other forums as well within this community. They're not doing it because they're winning. They're doing it. They're accelerating massively. This is a battle of the bulge, an Operation Michael type thing. They're really throwing his at there because it's almost like some last gasp for them, which is brilliant for us who are enjoying the struggle and weathering it okay, because that means they're going to peter out and come crashing down in a big way, which is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, that's some fabulous discussion there. I don't know if if you guys are familiar with Milton Erickson, but he's kind of the psychology guy behind neuro-linguistic programming. To some degree, he would take to a confused state and then offered something to do that gets them out of the confusion state, and to a large degree because that whatever that particular thing is, and they'll attribute it to themselves as their decision. And so in a lot of cases, this is like being able to hide the thing behind a person's pride. So once they make that decision, it becomes part of them, and anybody else that's not making that decision is essentially attacking their decision. And so this is one of the psychological techniques that create that understanding or use that shame to get everybody in line. And it's really by the book. But with that said, does anybody else have any comments in regard to the experience on the Q&A last week?
All
right, well, then we'll
it was
move on to
phenomenal.
the next
My
thing
head
that
is still
happened on
spinning
Sunday,
from
which
all
was
of this
the Grand Theft
information,
World.
and I am gonna. No, I'm sorry, Michael. Go ahead.
You'll have to forgive me. My internet is definitely not the greatest. So if anybody wants to pick up the ball, if I fall off, feel free.
Richard had some phenomenal quotes last night from Yoda, and one of my favorite ones that wasn't included was, "There is no try. There is only do."
That's a great quote there from Yoda. I like the idea of trying but doing it, and that action, JL, that you've put out there for us to be able to try. And that's one of the reasons why I like the integration exercises so much. I have to say, I've been rewatching week 2, just realizing again, as I came from season 5, for those of you who haven't met me yet, I'm still carrying along the baggage, and although I've dropped off a lot of suitcases, I seem to have a rucksack or 2 with me again that's still going. So I'm really finding the value here within the course and redoing it. But as you said, there is no try, do or do not. And it's this wonderful thing about the integration exercises that we've been given to do, to practice. And I've had some fantastic integration exercises. So a shout out to Rashad and Marcin, who I've spoken to both over the last couple of days. Absolutely excellent to hear about these guys' stories, some excellent plans that these guys are going to do and commitments that they've made to be able to drive forward. So I just wanted to express that attitude of gratitude to the chaps that I've spoken to so far in those integration exercises. The doing has given me so much value, even just to practice, shutting this big gob and listening with these 2 big ears. It's been great.
Absolutely agree. Yes, I was hesitant to start. I have no problem meeting people in the real world and integrating in the real world. I turned 50 this year, and I love technology, and I've been on the internet since the early 90s, but all of this Zoom over the last year or 2 has been very different. And I'm only learning to do this now, how to just jump off mute and kind of jump in. Whereas normally, if you were sitting in a meeting, that would be normal protocol. Nobody would think twice, wait for your turn to speak and say what you have to say. But it's excellent. And I agree, these integration exercises have been phenomenal. I've learned so many different interesting and gotten great resources, not just great conversations and connections, which in and of itself is invaluable, right? Learning people from different parts of the world, or even within our own country, with all of these great perspectives and points of view and their resources. So it's been phenomenal. I crossed my 10+ mark this week, and I'm just going to keep on going. I want to make another at least 6 for this week, and let's keep doing it. So anybody on this call, I will post my Calendly again. So hopefully you guys can reach out, and if you guys can do the same. I have a list as we had been doing them in class chat, and I make like a little Word document, kind of, old school and ghetto, but it works. Just putting people's Calendly links in there, reminding myself, oh yeah, I want to talk to this person, and make a list. So I hope to get the opportunity to speak with each and every one here today. So yeah, definitely.
I actually have a question related to that, if possible. I was curious how I'm actually having difficulty with Calendly. For one thing, I set up. First of all, does it link when you? How should I phrase this? I'm getting a little jumbled here. When I go to somebody else's Calendly link and I fill out the form and set a date, it doesn't appear in my calendar. That's one complaint I have against it. So I don't really get notifications. So I've been keeping a separate log of all those that I've done that way. Now, when somebody, well, actually, even in that situation, if they wanted to use Zoom, how does that link up? How do I get the information about the Zoom? Or if I initiate a connection, which is an opposite of what I just described. If I initiate in other words, if somebody goes to my Calendly and they say, I want to use Zoom, how does my Zoom information go to them? Because it doesn't look like Calendly asked for any Zoom information on my setup.
Great questions, Thomas. If I may be able to help you out there, this is just advice from me mucking around during the week with the Calendly. If you go to the settings within Calendly, you'll find it in the same place whereabouts you add and link up your own calendar. I'm on the free version, so I've got the calendar linking only to my Gmail calendar. So I need to actually go back as it creates the appointments within that Gmail. I chuck it in my, then forward it manually to my work calendar in Outlook and so forth. So that works. The other one there is that your second question of how do you auto-generate a Zoom meeting? That's also in the settings area. So I encourage you to make an exploration and check out how to automatically link up a Zoom meeting. I think you can also get it now. It's improved over the last few months. You can also add a Teams meeting. That's one of the options there as well. So everybody who hasn't done so, I recommend you have an explore. But I'll also submit to those who've done a bit more experience or have a bit more experience with Calendly of how to do it. But it is a do or do not. Keep on trying and you'll be able to find out what works.
Okay, I've been trying and I'll do it some more. I have gone to all this. I've gone to all these menus. I just can't seem to locate this. I just need somebody to walk me through it, I think, because I just haven't been able to stumble upon it, even though I spent a half hour looking for it and playing around with things. But I get confused between when I initiate a calendar connection versus when somebody initiates one with my Calendly. So I tried to, when I created the Zoom account, because I didn't have a Zoom account before. I was just using what everybody sent. So when I created my own Zoom account, there's a place where it gives you choice of Outlook, Google Calendar, and one other one, but none of them have Calendly in them in terms of the Zoom side of the fence. But when I'm looking at Calendly, I didn't see where I could enter my Zoom information, so I just need somebody to help me walk through there. But we don't have to waste a lot more time on this. I just thought I'd see if there was a quick answer for it that I was overlooking.
Well, I think the quick answer for you, mate, is you've just done a call out there to everybody on Do It Live to book an interview with you. And the first couple of people are going to work you through Calendly, sharing some screens.
There you go. That'll probably be
I was
it.
going to say, I'm happy to help with that during our meeting. We already have set up, Thomas. So
All right, very good. Well,
it
that's
took
great.
me a little while as well.
Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you very much.
I think we might have lost Michael there. So just jumping in. So we've spoken about what people have found of value. So we've got some great quotes and learnings there. Do we have anybody who's catching up on the previous weeks, maybe have just joined Autonomy and now feeling that they're catching up? Feel free to jump on. Okay, with nobody taking themselves off mute, one of the things that I've really enjoyed about being able to jump on as somebody from season 5 and starting to integrate with season 6 is being able to enjoy the Q&A sessions. As I mentioned before, I'm in England, so I watch the replays, which is really brilliant to be able to go through, as it gives me that chance to see the Q&As at a humanly time rather than doing it for some of you at such an early time in the morning. So brilliant for you guys who have got commitment there so far to be able to go through and attend it live. I'd like to throw the floor out and ask people to come off mute and be able to discuss now what are the things that they found of value, looking at the benefits before challenges. What value have you guys started to go through now that we've started to drop that baggage that we've gone through and we've taken from schooling? We've started to explore what challenges we have, and now we want to be able to accelerate into who we want to be. Has anybody got anything of gratitude they want to say?
I would jump in with the gratitude because for me, learning that in past weeks that all those things about schooling, it was kind of new to me. I did participate in the season 5. Going into the week 3, so I kind of missed that lectures for teaching us how it was made, that we at the normal, as to say, basis are having this scarcity mindset developed. I am saying normal in the way that it's the bad normal. It's not good that we develop scarcity, but for me, processing that information in my mind and then being able to speak about to my fellow colleagues of autonomy course enables me to receive a great feedback. Like people here are very empathic and can see where I have problems and are very developed in their own lives to the position where they are able to help fellow students. And in that case, it was me that I received a lot of help, a lot of understanding, and also those like slaps into my face that I need to wake up at some things, and being my colleagues here are able to point me to the direction when I am not at my best self. attitude, and going into the gratitude of attitude and keeping it together, and trying to have it all the time. It's something that really helps to overcome obstacles and once again see the brighter future, and see that with I written down something that maybe is good for the meme or for a t-shirt. Trust but verify. Richard Grove. I made that note after like last night lecture, and yeah, with that attitude of gratitude, it's easier for me to trust, but now I have the skills in front of me that enables me to verify correctly, and that is very useful. And next thing that I am grateful about. Thank you.
That's brilliant. Thanks very much, Jacqui. Jacqui, very much for your part there, Marcin. Really good that you said trust but verify. It's a great thing. I think even Ronald Reagan stole that from Richard Grove. It's a great thing to be able for us to be able to trust people, but we put in these quality assurance measures to make sure that the integrity of others is going to be there. I really do like the simplified definition of integrity that we have, doing what we said we would do by when we said we would do it consistently. And that's such a fantastic thing that we've able to take away from autonomy. It really has allowed me to be open and wanting others to verify my work, because I know the trust is there and I want them to feel that they can trust me, and also we can understand and bring that bond together. And it links so much into the modern psychology work that's been done. Patrick Lencioni, in his 5 dysfunctions of a team, just talks there about the base layer of his pyramid of the 5 dysfunctions. And it is that absence of trust. It's an absence of people wanting to be vulnerable. By presenting themselves as invulnerable, they fake it and they don't make it. They put up these artificial blockers. They have a scarcity mindset that creeps in. By having that abundance mindset, and your great example there of wanting to be grateful and bring others in and interact, Marcin, I think that speaks to all of us.
Yes, it does. And in fact, knowing that definition, the better definition of integrity, is making me question myself, like in particular, am I presenting integrity? And answer to that question is not always like it might be painful.
Well, now that you know how to recognize it, Marcin, are you taking steps when you might fall out of integrity to reschedule something or make an agreement to renegotiate when you have to deliver?
I do try to do that. Yes, every time I am putting my schedule with someone and I am not able to be there, be accountable, basically, I always trust to try to present some input, some other thing that will be at least at the same level of value for the other person, but this is something that is like it might be wishful thinking also from my part, and I really try to find myself not to say things that that are basically bullshit sometimes. So yeah, I'm
Well,
learning that.
it's great that you're showing such vulnerability to those people that you work with. I can certainly relate to that. People always want to have such high expectations. As a consultant, when I go out and I do a day in the life of study, or I'm checking about workplace efficiency, we never take the top number. No, that's absolutely to be avoided, because that meant that everything's been there at the right time in the right way. We always reduce that down to 80%. So we're setting these realistic expectations. So I just wanted to give you and everybody else that reassurance. Even the professionals are out there. They're not expecting 100%. They're expecting a reduced capacity. So if we can, using our autonomy skills, deliver above that because of our own integrity, our ability to schedule, we're going to be absolutely firing on all cylinders compared to the other, as the competition, who are feeling this invulnerability and this feeling that they need to fake their integrity.
Hey, Bordy, can I jump in here real quick?
Please, James. Great to see you. How are you going, mate?
Oh, I'm doing awesome, man. How are you doing? Great. Well, I wanted to take just a moment. Mike Nimitz just reached out to me over Discord, and he wanted me to relay that he is having internet issues, and it doesn't look like he's going to be able to return to the program for his hosting duties. He did ask me to take over for him, but unfortunately, I'm scheduled to start a separate meeting here in just the next few minutes. But I did want to make sure that everybody knew that Mike is okay. It's just they took his internet away from him this afternoon. I guess he was doing too good of a job.
Brilliant, James. Yes, I'm sure the CIA outstations and the other three-letter agencies down in Mexico are having fun. But to all those guys from the three-letter agencies that are tuning in, this is a great time set for you to be able to do. Welcome, and think about paying your own money, or at least the taxpayers' money, and joining Autonomy as well.
Great plug, Jonathan. Great plug.
Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. That got a laugh out of me. Thanks for that, Jonathan.
Well, brilliant. Cody, you're on my camera now. Great to meet you. Are you new to season 6?
Yes, I am new to season 6.
Brilliant. When did you join, mate? Have you been from the beginning? You were playing catch up?
Yeah, I joined Autonomy like 3 weeks before the first week started.
Nice. How are you finding the experience? Are you experiencing the overwhelm yet?
Yes, I'm very much in the overwhelmed stage, because I came into this from a severe state of stagnation for almost 2 years, and now, I've met some people, I've set some goals, and now these goals are starting to pile on top of each other, and my general, not a lot of skills in time management and energy management, so on and so forth, is leading to these piling on top of each other, and I'm starting to get to that, oh my God, I have so much to do. But it does help to put a plan in place of when to do stuff, because my plan for today is to just knock out the like all the stuff related to the photo stuff that is applicable for me to get started with today.
Brilliant. And you've set aside time in your calendar to be able to do that too, yes?
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep.
Funny enough, I can relate to you, mate, as even though I came into Autonomy as a professional, having very fortunate to have the work that I do, but I recognized I needed to do that real basic start of course stuff and learn much more about the David Allen scheduling, and Richard's great example of how he can put together his ideas onto his speech cards. I use OneNote, and I've got a tab there that's called Great Ideas Club that I just bang out, and I list all my ideas, stating what the end state is, noting what the benefits are, and then some of the challenges that have immediately dropped into my head. So that's what I've been using to start to collect and germinate these ideas. What have you been using, Cody?
I've just been using paper, just writing stuff down.
Nice.
Yeah,
Are you starting to basket that and collect it yet? Or is it in a book?
Right now, I just have the one sheaf of paper that is just holding like the bare bones for all the basic projects. I will need to. I'm very quickly realizing that I'm going to run into problems with this almost entirely lack of method very soon. And I'm getting all sorts of ideas that
Brilliant.
That go back and forth between just paper and digital.
Great. Well, hey, flooding yourself about those ideas and those seeds forming is absolutely brilliant. And I'm looking forward to you being able to do some more of the integration interviews, finding out from other people how they're organizing their ideas. And that's a wonderful thing about the community. We sharing knowledge. I gave my example. It's not perfect. It sort of works for me, but it's better than me forgetting the stuff. And just to share with everybody I feel for you, Cody, because I also have that overwhelm, that stressful moment when I've got too much in my head. And it was such a good thing for me to go through Richard's interview with David Allen and realize the 2-minute rule, and as well the need to write stuff down, because I really felt that stress relieved from me by being able to write the stuff down, put it into a program. And I've already got my stuff for tomorrow that I've got to prep ready for the week ahead there, and I'm keeping that locked in. There is nothing more that I can add to it because I've set the schedule. And that's, thanks very much for bringing that up. Anything else that you're doing? Have you felt better now that you've started to schedule and allocate that? And before you answer, I want to say congratulations. I noticed that 2 sides of A4 is already full.
Yeah, it very, very quickly got full. And the only reason I haven't added more and more lines to it is because I'm really running out of space on the one paper. I need to get to some sort of larger, more concrete system, which I just haven't put in the time yet to get off the ground. And okay, what was the first question? I already lost it.
Oh, it was the what have you been feeling now regards to your own stress, scarcity mindset, and potentially anxiety by taking the action to start to schedule, to start to accumulate your ideas in an orderly fashion?
Oh, it's helping tremendously. Even though I'm only doing a little bit, it's helped tremendously. Like I don't think I'm like really yet into any sort of like complexity phase. I think I'm still very much in order, because the whole meetings and showing up for meetings, the thing is it comes very naturally to me to just hop in a meeting, much like the Q&As and whatnot has been. So I think it's still mostly in order, but I've also been shuffling around, and the integration exercises have been a decent chunk of the complexity, where just talking with other people isn't something I do on a regular basis. It's just it just doesn't come naturally to me to just talk with other people. And the combination of meetings with the integration exercises with like writing things down and getting a few projects off the ground, it's helping tremendously. Like my mood has increased significantly.
Awesome. That's brilliant. And I hope you're getting a few accountability partners as well as you start to talk about what you want to do, what plans you have, and they're starting to say, brilliant, tell me what's important now and what's important next, and I'll hold you account, and let's chat again in 2 weeks, 3 weeks time.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm going to need to, that's one of the things on my radar is to build more firm relationships with the accountability.
Awesome. Well, that will help with your own personal integrity. And picking up on something you said before about the complexity isn't actually that complex. It was a really good point there, because often what we're all having to try and do is juggle lots of simple stuff. And my thoughts of what I was like before the autonomy season 5, and certainly during the overwhelm phase of that, which I imagine many of us are starting to feel again, trying to fit in the integration exercises, the interviews. You just feel like you have so many plates spinning, like the street performers with their plates on their stilts. And being able to keep all those plates up is just an effort in itself. You don't really feel like you're getting forward. So that's whereabouts I hope everybody is using their scheduling and noticing whereabouts they can take some of those plates down, put them away, really accelerate the ones going up. And I'm thinking of what Richard has said in a couple of his in his lectures, especially in week 2 and week 3. They and them have taken away our initiation rights from us. So many of us are not going through that traumatic or that hard experience that we feel that we've coming out and we've gotten the reward at the end. And they do it another way, that water torture of the 15,000 hours of schooling and loading us with all this baggage, and like the flea circus, putting the cap on us. So where am I going with this? Well, I went through the military academy, and they introduced this initiation right, this graduation for us, whereby they constantly put us through, not with loads of complexity, but too many simple tasks to be able to get everything done and achieve them all. And it's about finding your own personal way how you can deal with that. And it's exactly like autonomy teaches us. It is about scheduling, knowing about what's important now, what's important next. What can we put in the diary? When is that diary full? What can we delegate or outsource to our friends? And how can we maintain integrity by reaching out to our fellow autonomy students and reporting back to them and saying, hey, Cody, that stuff I said I'd do, this is what I've done, and this is what the result is. So it's absolutely brilliant that the community's here. And Cody, I definitely encourage you, mate, keep on reaching out. And for those of you who haven't reached out to Cody yet to meet him on his interview, I think he's probably going to have his Calendly available in Discord pretty shortly.
All right, I'm accountable to do that now. I'll be right back.
Awesome, awesome. Is anybody else going to be able to help us out and state some of the things that they found of value over the last week?
I just had a quick comment to both Marcin and Jonathan and Cody. Cody, for sure, something that has definitely helped me was David Allen. Exactly like Jonathan said, Richard did a brilliant interview with him. If you just go through the interview and take notes, gathering your pieces of paper, analog is totally fine. Digital, something like what Jonathan uses, OneNote. I used to use Outlook, and they have a tasks portion to do that. And actually you can assign other people and timing and all that other good stuff. So digital is great too, but I also utilize analog on the day-to-day for my schedule. And it's incredibly helpful. But to that point, having priorities and knowing what the priorities are. So yes, schedule is super important, but to be able to prioritize and then schedule what you need. So if the house is on fire, we're not really interested in fixing the roof, right? So definitely to get those priorities. But David Allen has helped me tremendously. It's something that I had already been doing. I just didn't know that that was his method. And then hearing it was really, that's where that came from. I kind of learned it in corporate just to kind of get my jobs done, so to speak. And then just going back, one last conversation between Jonathan and Marcin, talking about definitions. Definitions are also incredibly important. If we all can agree on the definition, I think last Sunday, Richard kind of interjected with a definition. That's how we started off the Q&A on Sunday. There was a couple of our classmates going back and forth with the definition of coercion, I think it was. And until you actually are clear and we're in agreement on what we're talking about, we cannot move forward. And it's part of what the controllers do, right? They, them, those love to keep changing into the newspeak and coming up with things that were never defined in the way that they're currently being defined. So it's another way for them to move the goalposts. And as long as we're staying on track and integrity with ourselves and with each other, we can kind of navigate around them. I mean, we're already starting to do it. That's pretty much the way I see what autonomy is, right? So if they want to constantly interject themselves into our life, uninvited and definitely unwanted, then we have to have our strategies for meeting them on the field. But I don't think we need to play on their field. I think we build out parallel societies and continue to move forward that way. So this conversation has been excellent, guys. I'm glad I jumped in. Thank you.
You're definitely a contributor. Thank you very much, JL. Sorry, I can only see your initials there, JL. What's your proper name?
So my birth name is Joey. That's my real name. And I go by JL. It's just easier. This way I don't have to have that conversation of, well, you sound like a woman. I am a woman. But what, is that your real name? And I was named after my grandfather. So he's a 101-year-old World War II submarine veteran who goes to work 5 days a week and volunteers on the weekend. So I definitely have some big shoes to fill for sure.
Sounds like it.
But yeah, so I just go by JL.
That's awesome.
Yes.
No, thank you very much for sharing, JL. And absolutely brilliant. And it's wonderful to see everybody being so open. And your granddad absolutely sounds like a dude who has very much overcome so much and is still looking to how he can give value to people today.
Absolutely. One of his favorite things to say is give, be a giver. There's makers and there's takers. Be a maker. And basically, he's lived through the Depression. He was a submarine veteran in World War II, did 7 patrols. He's owned numerous businesses, plus been an employee, and currently at 101 years old they just acquired his company in August. And I remember him coming home and saying, oh boy, I don't know if I'm going to have a job, which I think is hilarious. I want to do what I want to do. I'm building my business out, and that's why I'm here. But he loves to work with other people and be out in the world and interact, which is phenomenal. And he was concerned that he wouldn't have a job, but when they interviewed him for his job, they said, oh my God, you're great. Definitely, we wish we had 100 of you. So they kept him on board, and they are pleased with his performance because, I think he doesn't have to be in work until 8, but he leaves the house about 5 o'clock in the morning. So he's always early and always doing more than whatever he's asked. And this is the kind of work ethic that I was raised with. My grandparents raised me. And so it's kind of odd for me to be a Gen Xer, but having work ethic and integrity ethic of what they would call the greatest generation. Again, more labels meant to divide us, but you know what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, that's absolutely brilliant. So it sounds like you've got another challenge to be able to come up with. And as part of your Good Ideas Club, I'm certainly expecting some sort of biography for your grandfather to come out. It sounds like he has had such an adventurous life that it's going to take up several volumes. So I look forward to hearing more about your ideas for your grandfather's biography.
Yeah, no, actually the idea is for my own personal wellness platform. I'm building something out called Wellness Empowered, but you are the second or third person, Jonathan, that has recommended that I go ahead and put a microphone in front of them and just let them rip. And we have done that in so much. I have a cousin that works in radio, and he did a couple of interviews with him. It's hard, my grandfather's answer is, oh, everybody already knows this. And I keep trying to explain to him, no, that's confirmation bias. No, they don't know it. They only know it if you relay it and share your experiences. And having somebody from that generation who's been through, obviously not his first rodeo, is incredibly helpful to us, to the younger generations moving forward. And he's never seen anything like this. He's shocked, honestly, truly shocked as to what's going on with his country. And but he realizes that as long as you do the best you can with what you have from where you are, and you're a maker and you're a giver, you're going to be fine in this world. Be peaceful, be loving, try to give back more than you receive, and leave the world a little bit better place than when you came in, and you'll have been a successful person. But yeah, thank you for reminding me to go ahead and get his biography, because Lisa Manfredi had mentioned that also on my intake interview. And yeah, you're right. He does have a lot to share, and it's something that I definitely can help move forward. So thanks for reminding me about that, Jonathan.
Yeah, it'd be great. And the tech stack that Autonomy is going to be able to give you, and the access to people who are going to be able to help you in that quest, you don't have to do the old school book. You could make this into new media. You could call it Lessons from My Grandfather and break it down into your 7-minute type TEDx talks. There'd be so much you'd be able to do. And if you need to be able to get your granddad's acquiescence to this, definitely throw it back in his face. Tell him, hey, granddad, time to be a giver, not a taker.
Love it.
Future generations be able
love
to
it. Love it. That's a great technique, and I will do that, because sometimes he'll look at me and he won't say well played, which I love, right? I love when Richard says that, well played, but he will say touche. So yes, I will do that, and we will get this going. And I love the concept of breaking it out into 7-minute ideas, something short where people can kind of dive in and say, hey, who's this person and what do they have to share? You never know what kind of wisdom can be passed along.
Exactly. And that's one thing we've learned about the difference in schooling over the time through Richard, and also interacting with each other. I'm a fellow Gen Xer, but even seeing the difference between what I went through at school and my youngest brother, interacting with younger people through Autonomy and understanding what people went through the English school system, me in the Australian, others in the American and other places in the world, is absolutely fascinating to see whereabouts the divergence, but also the alignment of that propaganda and chucking the cap on us. I think your granddad's going to have so much to be able to give and share. And especially when people are trying to censor the internet and burn down the new Library of Alexandria, we need to keep on getting that good stuff out. Absolutely.
Hopefully we'll have the opportunity to continue. Again, I'm a big proponent of parallel societies, and if they're going to try to burn the digital library as they did the actual library, we need to make communities that we can still communicate. A conversation that had happened I believe it was last Sunday's Q&A, and the Sunday previous to that, they were talking about technologies of how we can do this. I believe it was a digital trust system, kind of like Secure ID meets Salesforce.com meets Indeed.com. So a digital verification and trust system. And then a couple of other of our classmates popped in and said, yeah, that kind of sounds like a social credit score. I'm not really on board with that.
What I would say to everybody thinking about there's going to be one answer, one silver bullet to be able to take down the big werewolf, is it's not one. It is going to be many. It is going to be the 1,000 paper cuts that brings this giant down. Why do we think it's always going to be one hero? Well, as a Gen Xer, I was brought up on the Rambo movies, all the rest of it, Rocky being out there, and the one guy that everybody's cheering on. We're waiting for the Deus Ex Machina, that hero, to come along and change the thing. So we're absolutely trying to slope our shoulders and delegate responsibility for victory to one imaginary Achilles hero, when that's not going to happen. What they fear is very much groups, people being able to come together for mutual benefit, trusting each other because we've got integrity, and we're able to just do simple, small things. I interact with different people from when I need my house or something built to those at the farmer's market that I go and pay cash for. different people from the stationer, but me intersecting with all these little groups without being terrible. And for the 3-letter agencies who are listening in, it's how Al-Qaeda was able to work so well over in Iraq and feed into Afghanistan. You know, they let it out, they let the networks loose. They weren't able to control them, and things got funky. So that's what we want to be able to do, but for the forces of good, not evil.
Right. So the database, Al-Qaeda, the database, right? So then I guess it'll be a war of the databases.
Very good, very good. Well, remember, those idiots over there have sponsored it. They supply weapon systems and money to really bad guys. They sponsor all sides. You know, if we think to ourselves, whether you're in Australia, New Zealand, UK, or the Americas, you know, you couldn't put a cigarette paper between both sides of the established political parties. And they'd also be sponsoring the up-and-comers as well. You know, Lenin said that they wanted to be able to co-opt and sponsor and control the opposition by being the opposition. So how we do it, I think you're right, JL. It is parallel societies, not just one, but many, many, many parallels, so they can't control it. Get back to freedom and the like. I'd love to hear other people's thoughts on that.
This week was a live podcast of John Bush, and he was also discussing this and his way and his course, I think, and some kind of event with different people discussing how to build and grow this parallel communities. FYI.
Yeah, thanks very much, Martin. So we'll be able to have a look at that. So John Bush, of course, was a member of season 5, and I think people who want to be able to speak to him, his Calendly link is there, or you can tap him up on Discord so that you can work out when to be able to book an interview. And Martin and I, we were having a chat beforehand about working with local groups and how to be able to reach out to our contacts and be able to be that trusted partner. And that reminds me of one of the simple things that we do in our village here in England. There's a couple of dads groups where the village dads either get together online or go to the pub on certain nights just for a chat and a yarn, building up that alternate support group that, you know, some of us don't watch the news, other ones do, but we're getting out and we're actually being a part of the local community and being known to each other. So when Ian has a problem, Thomas can reach out to him and say, hey, you going? On the message group, if a guy has to take the engine out of his car, he's going to ask for a couple of volunteers to hook that out to some ropes and lift it up in his garage. It's absolutely brilliant that the small stuff that we can do to build our parallel societies, to be part of the community. We can't get to the end goal just on the first step. It's going to be a journey, ladies and gents, a journey like we do in autonomy, where we drop the baggage, we come together, we help each other achieve in all those small ways by adding value to each other. So I've yabbered on for quite a while, but I do notice that some people haven't come off mute. Now's my challenge out to those of you who haven't joined in. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us how you're getting on with the autonomy learning so far, please?
Glenn here.
Awesome, Glenn. Thanks very much for taking the challenge and coming off mute. How are you, champ?
Pretty good, pretty good. Only made it to about 1 o'clock last night, so I figured I'd jump on today. Wait for the recording next week.
Awesome. Whereabouts are you?
I'm in Ohio, near Cleveland.
Nice, nice. I do know the Indians. I used to play baseball as a kid, so I know all the major league teams.
All right. We had a fairly good year. Not our best, but it was okay.
Awesome, awesome. Are there any key takeaways that you had from last night from what you were listening into?
I don't think I've had it digested it enough. It's setting out a course that I don't know. I probably should have done 50 years ago, but using the tools and using autonomy to get where I want to go. But I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Key takeaway right now. I'm kind of getting caught up. It's not the first time I've jumped on, but I haven't done any of the interview yet. And just a few minutes ago, I hooked up my Calendly to Gmail, so I'll see how that works. I've been, of course, on Discord quite a bit. But again, I need to get out there and say hi to people.
Definitely.
That'll be my next step.
Awesome. Well, the actions that you're taking already by putting yourself out there, coming off mute tonight to be able to introduce yourself, absolutely brilliant. I admit I'm the opposite a little bit. I restrict my Discord interaction, so I'm often finding myself going back through messages and banging one on there because I'm trying to schedule in and balance the stuff that I'm trying to do. But great that you've stepped out to be able to take more of that action by getting yourself onto Calendly, and really do look forward to meeting some interesting people through those interviews. And those integration exercises are only going to become more interesting as you get better at it, as those challenges that are going to come up in the upcoming weeks, those are going to get more interesting because they're going to test our interactions with each other. But while I've got you on, I wanted to ask, have you been doing the pre-lecture questionnaires? And have they been good for your own personal reflection?
I did them for the first 3 weeks, and I didn't do one for yesterday.
Nice. Did those first 3 weeks, were they a good chance for you to sit back and do some introspection and question yourself?
It seemed to just follow right along with what Richard and everybody has been talking about as far as what we missed in schools and growing up, and I can see it that what I've missed and what I did not learn.
Yeah, it's really important that we identify these problems in ourselves as well as at the society level. And I like being able to combine some of the learning that was before, such as the types of birds or the gemstones that we are, to look at the people and understand their own personality types and how all that 15,000 hours of baggage was able to affect those people. But if you haven't done week 4, I have to say, really look forward to the introspection. These questions start to accelerate a little bit more. So if you haven't done the pre-lecture questionnaires, I recommend them to everybody. Have a bit of a thought about them, bang out your answers in them, reflect about what you've written, and then you'll be able to come back later in the course and be able to check out what you wrote. It's really good. So awesome. When are you going to be able to schedule in your next autonomy activity then, Glenn?
Well, I'm online right now. I could do it immediately.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I'm all caught up with everything, like I said, except for the doing the integration, meeting people, interviews, and that pretty much.
Brilliant. Well, it sounds like you're really on the step. looking forward to that overwhelm as you get in, and now you're trying to be able to, well, you're doing, as we had from JL, that's as it is, there is no try, do or do not. Now that you've got your Calendly out there, you'll be able to schedule and book those integration interviews with people. Absolutely brilliant. Will you
Can
be
I
on?
ask where's the best place to book? I don't see a whole lot of activity on Discord, actually.
Great point. So for my own Discord, I have set up in the top right of my ID so that you can see my status. It comes up with my Calendly link. So I keep mine up there. So anybody who wants to see Jonathan or Bordy, my nickname's got a whole story behind it. You can then book me through that. Others that I've seen going through will just throw out that they're got some free time in the days coming up into Discord itself, provide their Calendly link, copy and paste it into that chat, and you'd be surprised how quickly your calendar can fill up with people volunteering to speak to you.
Oh, great. That's good.
Has anybody else got any tips for how they've been able to schedule? Oh, the other one, of course, I forgot about it. It's reaching out direct. Yes, on Discord, if you find somebody with an interesting name or that you haven't spoken to, or you did speak to in the Q&A from the previous week, look them up on Discord, reach out to them one-to-one, offer your Calendly link and tell them how much you appreciated their chats and you wanted to catch up with them again.
Great advice, Jonathan. I just wanted to hop in. I don't mean to monopolize the time here, but I just wanted to hop in on that last question that you asked Glenn about the pre-lecture questionnaires. And one of them, the last one, I usually get fairly reflective and take some time to answer them. And then the last question was, I'm going to paraphrase, something to the effect of, when have you had scarcity mindset and did you regret it? And so what's really funny for me is that I have been meaning to pop in on these Doing It Lives on Saturday because I'm super interested in podcasting and would love to just, learn how to do it and get comfortable and the technical aspects of it. And I had no idea what to expect. I just kind of popped in here at 3 o'clock, just to learn something. And as I related the question in my head, yes, I only answered it yes, period, which is very odd for me to just give a one-word answer. But really, the instance would be that I wanted to do this, but I felt way like talking about, triggering complexity. I just thought, well, I'm really not ready for this yet. But yet here I am and we're doing it. We're doing it live. So yeah. So yay on me today. And thank you all for being here, and thank you for letting me chime in.
It's been absolutely a pleasure. Your contributions have certainly added value, JL. So I'm so happy and glad that you have contributed. Yes, as far as this goes, very much. I'm sure. I think Joshua Hale, who's might be on or being able to do the recording, he'll be looking forward to volunteers for hosting Doing It Live. This is very much impromptu from me. You can see my ironing behind me that I was planning on doing while listening in, but I've been able to bump this up my priority. So I hope people haven't mind me monopolizing and having a little bit too much of a chat on here. So what I do want, though, if anybody else hasn't come on and said g'day yet, please come off mute and tell us a little bit about your experiences with autonomy over the last couple of weeks.
Do or do not. There is no try.
Love it. Well played. Well played.
Funnily enough, ladies and gents, I conduct a lot of workshops with work, and one of the things I'm pretty comfortable with is introducing silence to everybody to make them uncomfortable so they feel they have to speak.
That's a great technique.
I can't stand the silence. I got to say something. Actually, I'll just chime in with a couple of comments with regard to catching up. I missed the second week. I was camping with some great friends at a Freedom Conference, a Freedom get together. So I missed that second week, and I'm all caught up in everything. I've been getting the integration exercises, getting interviews down now. So that's what I've been doing. But I have to say that this last night's lecture was by far the best thing that I've encountered with autonomy so far, aside from the help that I've had with the Pirate Box in the past. But with regard to getting engaged with season 6, I started in season 5, but I wasn't really able to put my head into it. But I'm really focused on doing that now. And I am starting to get into the overwhelm stage with all the information. Even just in last night's lecture alone, there was so much material there. I'm going to be spending a lot of time tonight going over that, and probably even some tomorrow morning, and going over that to come up with a list of questions, because there's a ton of stuff that came at me that I found very valuable, because I'm a very introspective guy, and I thought that was a very good tool for doing that. And the next thing I'll probably want to do to follow up with that is and get into some accountability relationships. So as I continue with my integration exercises, I'm going to have an eye to finding people that I think would be suitable accountability partners for that. So I just wanted to add that, because that's I'm just overwhelmed with how great this program is now that I've gotten into it to the level that I have.
Thomas, that's fantastic. Thanks very much for coming off mute and being able to share your vulnerability. I'm sure you're going to get payback now, as people are now so much more interested, not only in your Pirate Box, but you being able to take them through, and also people who are now going to feel challenged that they want to step up to help you by being that accountability partner. Absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much for doing that. And yeah, week 4, starting to accelerate and being able to work out what course do we want to take in the future. Brilliant.
Well, I also want to give some kudos to you too, Jonathan, because you stepped in here and you have no issues dealing with a crowd of people, and you're very smooth in how you're doing this. So I just want to congratulate you with your stepping up and putting your laundry aside your ironing aside for the time being, and putting a priority where I think it's probably, you'll get it done. It's not like that ironing is a top priority. I think these relationships are going to pay back many volumes more of a payback than what you would have by doing the laundry. I mean the ironing. So great job.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Thomas. You're far too kind. Just to be able to start wrapping up from my side, encouragements there on other things that are going on. Lisa Manfredi is an excellent person to be able to reach out to. She has fantastic budgeting advice that I really do encourage people to have a look at the wealthbattle.com Discord channel. If you're not already a member of Wealth Battle, Lisa puts a lot of effort into that. It's really helpful that a number of people with especially money worries are able to transmit those to a like-minded group who've been there, they've done that, they've overcome that challenges. And as well, anything else that you see on the autonomy calendar. I know Michael Nimitz has his projects group that's up there, and that's really good. An example myself, I spoke to another autonomy student because he's in England. I'm looking for entry-level project management people. This guy was looking for a job, so fantastic that we're able to connect and then start to be able to work together. He's going to look to send me his CV. We're going to look at how we can make him a junior project manager for, unfortunately, in the big corporate environment, but hey, we've all got to start somewhere. Ladies and gents, this conversation is of course going to be able to carry on in Discord. So I'd encourage everybody who wants to do a little bit more, jump over to Discord. Dojo rooms are available for you to be able to join in and be able to chat freely. Just to note with the dojos, if you find other people are in there conducting the interview, it's always very welcome for you to go in, pop yourself on mute, listen to the chat, and if it's an interview going on, listen to the interview, and then you can provide your feedback onto how it went. and the interaction at the end. And if it's just a free-for-all chat, really, we encourage you as well, come off mute, just like you've done tonight, and be able to chat and be able to add your 2 pence of value to other people. So, ladies and gents, this has been a real pleasure for me to be able to chat to you. Probably more of a pleasure for me, and for those of you not accustomed to the Australian accent, it's absolutely bonza, mate. So I hope to chat to you all more. I'm going to leave this on for a couple more minutes so that anybody who wants to jump out and come off mute and be able to chat some more about this week in autonomy, love to be able to hear it.
I don't know. I don't. This isn't terribly useful to jump in, but something that I find kind of fun to tie in with the Yoda quotes. So that there is no try, only do. You've also got the part at the end of the prequels where right before Obi-Wan and Anakin fight, Obi-Wan says, "I will do what I must." Anakin responds, "You will try." Guess who loses?
Nice way to tie that in, Cody. Nice.
Very good, very good. And on the sword battle one, a great quote that I heard this week that I wanted to share, all about goals. And it was actually Father Rippinger. I don't know if anybody has watched any of his podcasts. He had a great one-liner about that. And it was just, life is all about slaying the dragon and getting the girl. So, ladies and gents, as you've got the week ahead for you, I really encourage you. World out there is not easy. It's a struggle. So enjoy the struggle, slay the dragon, and get the girl. For those of you who want more chats, be over in Discord. But everybody, thank you very much for tonight. It's really been a pleasure doing it live on Autonomy Season 6.
Nice.
Thanks, everybody.
Good job stepping up, Gordy.
Cheers, Richard. Much appreciated.
Yeah.
That was excellent. You did a great job. That was excellent.
You got a lot of fans over here at the party.
A lot of fans.
Brilliant. Well, yeah, really stepping up because I haven't combed my hair since this morning and I didn't shave today. So
No one noticed, man.
No, that was not on our radar at all.
Didn't keep
Just
you
the
from-
excellent content.
Yeah. That's
Brilliant.
fantastic. Good workout. All right, you guys, Gordy, you have a good evening, and the rest of you enjoy your Saturday. Maybe we'll see some of you in the dojo later.
Have a good one. Thanks, ladies and gents. Really been a pleasure.
See
Thanks,
ya.
everybody. Happy birthday, Richard.
Oh,
Happy
yes.
birthday, Richard.
Happy birthday.
Many thank yous.
There we go. There's party emojis going up everywhere.
Party emojis. Where do I throw the party emoji?
I'm
Awesome.
driving
Bye-bye, everyone.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.